for the podcast.
Yeah, man. You always hear it.
Oh, by the way,
All right.
remember Elson, right?
Yeah.
This is him. Oh, you probably can't hear it.
No, I can't hear it. I can't hear anything. Yeah, Kingz told me that he was doing music. I just found out.
Who drove us? I don't know. All I know is when you smoke, then you better have some drunk. I be up all night. May your bitch showing love all night. She know that a nigga plugged alright.
Okay.
She love me for the buzz alright. Yeah, I got some bad habits.
Oh, shit, this is hard. Yo, Elson, huh? I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. I still can't believe it. Wow.
Girl, you single, but you came here couple. We don't keep it subtle. I know you never did this before.
So he's rapping and singing.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh man, props to Elson. Is he still in Boston?
Yeah,
Is he still in Boston?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, hold on real quick.
Hear ye, make way for the Kingz. The Kingz are here.
You think the bitches are great because you're fucking seasonal, nigga? You can't be seasonal! Niggas got, this shit's 24 hours a day!
Kingz. You're listening to the Kingz Podcast with your hosts, Karizmatik, Irish O'Neal, and Ani Moush.
Welcome, y'all, to the Kingz Podcast. I'm yours truly, Karizmatik.
What's up? It's Irish O'Neal.
Moush.
And we come to you today live with my dearest cousin in the world, my man, my twin, O2.
What up? Welcome to Kingz, sir.
Yeah, thank you for having me, man. Thank you for having me.
Definitely. I mean, I told you I was going to get you on this. I mean, from one podcaster to another, we don't have to plug you later. Plug you later.
We get right into the bugs. You want to get
Yeah,
that?
hey, two takes, man.
All right,
Let's do it, yeah.
Yo, I'm your boy, Karizmatik. You can catch me as Karizmatik IPE on Facebook. That's with 2 Ks, one at the front, one at the back. Like, smack that ass. Karizmatik IPE on Karizmatik_ME on Facebook, IG and Twitter. I got something in my mouth. But I'm out here, just trying to make y'all laugh, trying to keep y'all interested in the conversation, let y'all know you're not alone in the hunting grounds, that everybody's going through these struggles, as I like to call them. So, bear with us and we're going to get you through. We're going to get you some ladies, the real ones out there, and enjoy the ride. Book me.
Oh, yeah. Ani Moush.
Ani_Moush on Instagram and Twitter. Follow me. Follow my Etsy page, by Moush on Etsy, by _Moush on Instagram. I got a couple Father's Day gift boxes coming out.
Get 'em.
I have a Zaddy pack coming out.
Get them.
Dog Dad's coming up, and then
Get 'em.
a fancy one too. So
A fancy one.
yeah,
Get them.
if you look out for that, I'm gonna probably be dropping that between today and tomorrow.
Dropping them like a pair of nutsacks.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And then follow the Kingz Podcast on Instagram and subscribe to YouTube's channel.
Hell yeah. O2, what do you got to plug for the King Nation?
Yeah, you can follow me on OsaiXC on Instagram. I barely use it, but hey, check it out. You can also check out my podcast, 2 Takes in a Pod. It's on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, wherever it makes sense to get podcasts. And and yawmag.com for any, I guess, creative outlets, talking about Africans in the diaspora. What we like, what we're interested in, what we're trying to figure out, what we're struggling with. And yeah, check out if you want to contribute, if you want to tell us a story or kind of share your experiences and feel like it'll give back, help people feel seen, like Uche was saying. Come talk to us. Hey, like Karizmatik was saying. Yeah, man. Yeah, and again, thank you for having me on the podcast, man. Really appreciate it.
I got you. Much
Yeah,
love,
thank
cuz.
you. Guys, check me out on Instagram and Twitter at It's Our Show Neil. Check out the STC podcast, Shit Talking Cunts. We go live every Sunday. You can also catch me on this lovely podcast every Sunday and Thursday. Check out Vaden Jones's Trash Conspiracy podcast. He goes every Wednesday from here, followed by his Trash Panda Drinks, where he shows you how he makes the cocktails that fuels his conspiracy fueled rage.
Or the tailcocks.
And then Saturday is also the Midlife ISIS podcast with Anjan Biswas. And yeah, I think that's that. Check out my band and stuff. Other than that,
If you like the track playing at the beginning of the episode, that was my boy Elo. Subscribe and like. Book us.
hell yeah. Should we get into the King's mindset or principles?
I think we should get into the mindset so that we can get into the principles. I want to hear what you think about these.
Oh shit.
Alright, so we're gonna have to come right off the top. What we gonna start off with?
Well, first and foremost, guys, we got confidence. That's what we're always preaching to you guys. Confidence is the first principle. It's what you need to get these ladies. We always liken it to being a salesman. You know, you believe in what you're selling. You don't care if they're gonna buy it or not. You have your fucking spiel. You stick to the script. They're buying or they're not buying. Fuck them. That's just the way it is.
Hell yeah.
You don't give a fuck what the
Get with
reaction
it or
is.
get lost.
If you don't want to fuck you, who's gonna want to fuck you? You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to want to seem at least like you want to buy what you have to offer. You know what I mean? Got to make people feel like that's the best shit ever. You know, bring everything with you. I mean, there's nothing that she can say but no, and a no is, could just be a no for now.
It's like sales numbers. Every no gets you closer to a yes.
Yes, sir.
Not necessarily with that one chick. 50 no's and a yes is still a yes.
Key. How you feel about that one?
Confidence.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. I think confidence is absolutely important. I think like approaching it like with pure honesty. Well, not pure honesty, but like how would I say it? Nicely dressed honesty is always good. You know what I mean? So it's
hey, that's my job to get to the second principle. The second principle is honesty.
Shit.
The second
Okay.
principle is honesty.
But okay. So yeah, obviously, with confidence, man. I think you guys already covered it, man. Like, confident like leaves. Like, I feel like it's like a non-verbal communication. You know what I mean? Like, it's effective, right?
Yeah.
And you can't really pretend that shit. Like, you either are in it or not.
People know if you're faking the funk when it comes to the confidence. Like, and
Yeah.
even if you can fake it, it's you're on a timer. They're gonna find it out.
Yeah, exactly. Or you have to be tapping into something real, right? Like it has to be like, maybe you built up confidence in one other thing, and then you're kind of using it and blending into like talking to girls. Maybe you're good at like playing ball, but you can't.
You're just covering all our points today, bro.
Hit him.
Okay, I'm gonna shut the fuck up, and then you guys go next. I'm gonna shut the fuck up, and you guys go next.
He already covered the second one. Honesty. I believe you should be upfront and forward with what you want. I mean, if you can't accept yourself and put out there what you want, how the hell can they accept it?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
True.
Don't compromise what you want. Be honest about it.
You know what I mean? There's someone out there that will accept you for you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I mean, we might as well just get to the third because you was already touching all upon
yeah.
it.
So our third principle is social intelligence, and basically what we mean by that is like, if you're approaching anybody in life, but we're talking about pretty much these ladies, as we say, just have something to say. Be interesting, have a hobby, like have something that you're proud or passionate enough to talk about.
Be more than a dick and a pussy.
Yeah, and use that to, start conversation or, find common interests and things like that. And if you don't, who cares? Have your own social intelligence.
Just like you were saying, if you have confidence built up in one aspect of your life, put that one forward. You know what I'm saying? That's your social intelligence. Like with my cousin, besides being super smart, he has a velvety accent. So like once he starts speaking, I've told him many times, if there's one thing I'm jealous of is his fucking accent, man. The bitches be
Man,
screaming.
I'm telling you, I don't hear it. They don't come to me, man. They just look at me and keep it moving.
Really? How do you feel about his voice?
I mean, I heard the accent immediately. I normally like accents. Certain accents.
Where does he sound like he's from?
Say something again.
Say something. Anything.
Wakanda?
Yo, he would have been the perfect actor
Wakanda. Wakanda.
Besides the fact he can barely say it. Wakanda.
Definitely not African
Right?
at all.
It sounds like it's
Really?
Yeah.
I've told you.
What about like
lovely
South
accent.
African? You know the way like South Africans have like a
A
little bit
little
of like a
bit.
British like.
Yeah,
You know.
that's what I'm hearing. Like a little bit of a little tinge of Britain.
Yes, but he's
Yeah.
never lived in England.
Saying.
Yeah.
So weird. Well.
Yeah,
nice.
I grew up.
Like your
I grew up
accent,
around.
sir.
Yeah, I appreciate it. No, I grew up around a bunch of like British and Australian kids, out in Malaysia. So accent was much stronger then. Then I went back to Nigeria, and then my Nigerian accent kicked in full blow. So right now it's a whole mix of like Australia, England, Nigeria, Canada,
Yup.
A.
He was in Boston for a little bit. Now he's A all the time.
Boston. Boston, but I've lost it, man. Like I was
You
watching
have.
like The Town recently, and I couldn't even do the accent anymore,
love
man.
that
It was,
movie.
I couldn't even. Honestly, Uche, I was so disappointed. Like I could have done like one or two. It's all gone,
Oh
man.
my God.
Fucking sucks.
That's
Oh,
what
you
get.
like the movie The Town?
I love
You,
them.
you know how that's like based on a true story?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's Dirty Mike's uncles.
Yeah. A certain person
Oh,
that
shit.
you know also is affiliated with that. I'll tell you off
Oh.
this
Oh.
thing. Yeah.
Well, I
That
have
texted me
no.
yesterday.
I have no affiliation with that movie, so
Yeah.
I can't join
Um,
you. guys on this one.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. My Boston accent only comes out when I'm mad.
I don't think I have one. I got the black accent.
No,
I don't really have an accent.
A lot of black
No.
people around the country
your
like this.
Southern comes out. A
Yeah,
little
your
bit
Southern comes out sometimes.
Yeah,
Oh, he even hears it. He said,
Yeah.
"Yeah."
I can hear Irish. Yeah.
That's wild. I never think anyone noticed. I thought I got completely rid of it. Like,
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
polite voice has a little.
It's better than
Southern
what
twang.
it used to be, let me tell you. It used to be like some hardcore shit. Like when I moved in like third grade and shit. I moved up immediately. I
Tell
was
me
like,
about
oh.
them biscuits over down there.
I was like, I gotta change this quick. I get way too many looks.
Oh my God.
Yo, but touching upon the aspects, you agreed pretty much with with all our principles, correct?
Yeah. So you said confidence, honesty, and
Social intelligence.
Social intelligence.
social intelligence. So social intelligence, is that like including emotion? Is emotional intelligence part of that? Like part of the
It can
social
be.
intelligence?
It doesn't exactly have to be a strong suit.
think-
but it
Okay.
can be.
I think just being aware of what your emotions are and then being able to control them, like, affects
In a
your
social setting.
Yeah.
Well, it's like
affects your
Da-
social intelligence. at
Dante
times.
always puts it like you have to have like empathy for the person. Like you got to be able to understand like what it is, and then to make a proper like logical judgment call, you've got to be able to understand where they're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I find that I find O is really good at this. He's very good at putting himself in other people's shoes.
Appreciate
and
that.
What'd you say?
I appreciate that.
I mean, you're the person I bounce most of my crazy ass ideas off of, and they seem to land somewhere in a reasonable, area.
Because you're not that crazy, man, and you're often, crazy good, right? Like that's why you gotta work to it.
Whatever you want to call it. But like,
Yeah.
in our time knowing each other, we've kind of developed, because we spent a lot of time together growing up. So we kind of developed similar philosophies. And you said your philosophies on women has changed of recent?
No, I mean it's not. I think it's pretty much the same. I think where I'm at has evolved.
What do you mean?
So I think before, like, I think like the whole confidence thing. I felt like I had confidence, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't like. I just had confidence to a point. It felt like, right? But like I didn't like believe in like sharing myself or even celebrating myself often. So I'd rather like just keep it quiet. And notice that like there's some things that like kind of affect you being able to like really truly love that way, right? Like you kind of need to like love yourself wholly and understand that like you're good, so the person who cares about you is good for thinking you're good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And being able to kind of build on that. So for me, like I kind of felt it, but didn't know how to tap into it, if I would say, and didn't like so for me, like when I say it's involved in the sense of like how I value it, how I value that part of communication, that part of like taking the time to understand yourself and like really try like making that effort to really believe and like love yourself, like flaws and all and shit,
Dude, this realization come after a particular event, or did you kind of just like, as you've been dating, this is how you sort of have developed like over time?
Yeah, I would say it's the latter. It's
Okay.
it's over time, and it's just kind of like it's also like finding yourself. Like also, it's kind of like sometimes you know something feels right, but you don't know why it feels right. So
Yeah.
you're just kind of like going with it.
For
So it's
sure.
until like you get to a point where you understand, oh, this is why this felt right,
Mhm.
right? This is why this makes sense. This is why I should work on it. Before that, you don't know. You're second guessing yourself.
Do you
Or
have any
some people.
examples?
Uh, I mean, for me, it was just kind of like, okay, I think like when I thought about, oh, am I ready for a relationship, right?
Yeah.
When I thought about that, I was just like, I want to do this, I want to do that. I mean, I'd have, I guess, fun or whatever. But when I started thinking about it, like, it's like, to what end was I chasing the other things? You understand what I'm saying? Like, for me personally, right? Like,
I
again,
feel
like,
that too.
yeah, so it's just kind of like, I mean, it's fun and like it looks good, it might feel good, but it's just like when you're like trying to find yourself in life and like your purpose and everything like that,
Mhm.
you start to realize that like certain things help you take you towards that direction, and certain things don't necessarily, right? And like I've started to feel like, maybe like you feel like you're putting yourself into a corner, or you're trapping yourself, or all those kind of things, right? And then you kind of start realizing like, okay, I'm trying to force myself in this direction, and I've noticed that the things I'm taking care of, like they're helping me guide me and push me in that direction.
I
It's
feel
just
like
like,
you're being a
okay,
little vague, cause
how so? Like,
huh? Like, so I always, cause I feel like what it plays like in my head, cause I always likened you, like we've always been very very honest with each other, and I like have a huge ass obsession, and I've always been like, yo, I think you like strange, man. You know what I
mhm,
mean? And like,
okay.
is that the realization you're coming to? That's like, yo, you don't exactly need to have strange, or is that upon the realization you come to, or is it more so that you think that you found other things in your life, maybe outside of work, that you might find distracting to your advancement? Like, which?
No, I mean, yeah, I would say like no. Before that was the case, it was like I don't know what strange means, but like yeah, like just kind of
New
wanting
and hunt. You
to.
like new. You like the hunt.
Yeah,
Frivolous
okay,
pussy.
okay. Okay, yeah, so yeah, maybe that. And so for me it was just kind of like, is this something that I should chase, and then to what end?
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying? So like to what end? Like what am I like, so when I do this, what do I get out of it? Like what is the real reward, like beyond like feeling good, right? And that's a question like I kind of had to keep like asking myself, and like really struggled with, right? Like whether
What
that
was
was
the answer?
I mean the answer was when like nothing, like it
So
Huh?
strange
Or
it doesn't give
do
me anything.
for you, really. You
Okay.
just thought
Like
it
it's
was?
moment, it's like a yeah, it's like an itch, right? So you scratch it, but then like still
You
like it's still
satisfy
there.
the itch. That's the
He
end of
he
the
never
day.
said he satisfied the itch.
No, I'm saying like when you do that, it's quote unquote
Right, but it's
satisfying
like
an itch.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the itch always comes
R-
back.
yeah, that's what
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Like it's
Yeah.
literally just there, right? Like so, it's kind of like I feel like if I just keep following this, I'm not really sure where it's taking
You're just
me,
gonna be
right?
mad
And then
itchy.
it's just sorry.
No, regardless, he's gonna be itchy, but he doesn't know if he should scratch it or not. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
no,
That's
I
what
get
he's
you.
No,
debating.
it's just kind of like like I'm done. Like keep like it's kind of like you have a pimple. Like it's like there. Like it's like you're gonna keep like scratching this itch until you like get scabs, and it's just like
Yeah.
what was the point of
So why
scratching
not
this itch as
just
opposed
pop it right up the front? Get it
You
over
pop it
with.
right up the
Right.
front, or
Right.
maybe
Or
you
you-
let
or- or
it
you-
build for a little bit, and then you just give it that relief. And then you let it build a little bit, then you give it that relief. But like,
Are we comparing sex to zits?
Yeah.
yes.
Ew.
Yeah. My bad.
But like,
But
See, she
yeah,
can't,
like
she can't relate because they don't have anything really to show for it when they we got like a bow.
yeah,
payoff. They
yeah,
got, like-
yeah, and the payoff
Yeah,
difference
so-
between lengths.
yeah. I mean, so for me, for me personally, like so if let's say like I have like everything else, so for me it's like it's not also on the highest priority, I would say.
Okay.
So if like whether or not like so if let's say I hit all these other things and then like this is still there and like I still can't figure the shit out and like it's fucking with me, then that's a different conversation, right? That's there's something deeper there, right? But if it's like I'm not obsessing over it, or if it's not like affecting my day-to-day condition,
It's
you
just
know,
sort of
then
gnawing at you in like the back of your head.
yeah, it's just like a thing where it's like, you know, I could, should I, like, like, you know,
Did
and
we
it's
cover,
like,
is he single? Are you single right now?
no, I'm in a
Alright,
relationship.
Long term.
Yeah,
Long term.
yeah,
Is it monogamous?
yeah.
Have you had the conversation of like, hey, what about the idea of like having an open relationship? Let me get some side pussy. Because I mean, if you, I think if you logically explain it to them, I mean, like guys have this.
Have you always been
need
monogamous?
on a nature level?
Sorry, which question am I answering?
Has it always been monogamous?
For me, not so much. Okay, so let me just like I would say I've thought about it, right? So to Irish's question, I thought about it, and what I realized was I cared too much. So it's like I didn't want to go both ways. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
you don't like the idea of someone fucking drilling out your girl.
yeah, just nicely.
That's
Put delicately, yeah.
but see, that's the one thing we've got to be able to get over, because that's like the one power women really have over us. Like if we can like learn to get like if you learn to get over that, they have nothing, because it's like
I can even admit that shit's hard.
it's definitely difficult. You got to like on the inside you're like yeah, but like you know you basically just have to have confidence enough in your game that at the end of the day they're coming back to you. Because women don't really want 10 different dicks. You know what I mean?
It's
They
not
want
even
like
that.
one.
It's definitely like as much as you fight it, it's the ownership thing. It's definitely the ownership thing. You're in a relationship.
Yeah, you
feel
can't
ownership
control
of
a
the
woman's
other person.
body
You can't
ever.
control anybody's body.
But like Patrice
And you
said,
have to deal with that
you can control
realization.
her mind, and they give you their mind freely, and through that you can control their body.
Hey, I'm not saying that like at the.
Well, that yeah, I get that.
And I mean, he found the easy way of controlling her mind by saying, "All right, fine, I won't do it." You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
But
No,
is he controlling
I
her
mean-
mind, or is she controlling him? Because he'd like to be getting some side pussy.
You see that?
Right. So like,
Okay.
so like that's the thing, right? Like it's kind of like how much importance is that for me? Like for me, how worth it is it like going out? Like because it takes time and work to go get other, you know.
So like
pussy, right?
saying
Like-
that, would you put work into a threesome then?
Good question.
I know my cousin.
It really just depends if it makes sense. It depends
do
if
you
it
mean?
makes
What do
sense.
you mean?
Like if like
If the effort was worth the payoff, perceivably.
yeah, it's really situational, right? And it's like it's so delicate in my opinion that you don't want to like I would take it because like that's a conversation we have had,
Yeah.
right? And you know, like she said she's open, and I'm like, okay, but
Call her on it.
it really depends on like what the word is, right? And like you know how much she can really back that up. So it really now depends on the conversation of when it does, like when a situation creates itself. I'm not looking for a situation because I'm not that interested. You know what I mean? But if the situation
how
creates
freeing would
itself,
it would be pretty freeing just to have that option, though. Like, you know, like even if you like, we had my buddy Sean Bennett on before, and he's like, you know, he's like, I'm in an open relationship in theory, but not yet in practice. And I was like, what do you mean by that? And he's like, well, we've been in an open relationship for a year. Neither of us have acted on it yet, but he's like, it's honestly kind of just nice having that option if I wanted to pursue it.
But
Right.
in
So-
my head, is it really an option until you have? Because you don't
No,
know
that's
how
a
the
fair
person's gonna
point.
react.
You've at least had the conversation, though, so they can't act surprised when you go like, hey, so I found some pussy. I want to go drill out. Like,
Won't
Bye.
stop them from getting offended if their emotions say get offended.
oh, if they do, it'd be like, hey, we had this conversation, so figure your
Right.
shit out.
And
Won't
that's
make it any easier. Trust me.
Oh,
yeah, and
sure.
I feel like just because you have the conversation doesn't mean that like it's going to like so like I feel like I've seen a bunch of stories where like they're in an open polyamorous relationship or something like that, and they typically have a conversation, and then like somebody started catching feelings, and then they wanted to move on to the other relationship, right? And then it's just kind of like, okay, then we move on to that, but the other person is deeply hurt, right? Like they thought that this was an understanding and that you would always come back to them, and then it's for me
We've
it's
seen this
the-
happen.
It's my nightmare.
We've seen this happen.
But
But,
that's-
like
that's
it
just-
happened the other way where the person was pushing the boundary way too much and she got cut off.
Mhm.
Right, and that's what I'm saying.
You
Like,
gotta be firm, and in that situation, that couple was firm in their rules.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's the thing. If you're not firm in your rules, then are you really being honest?
And like the other guy, like the guy that you're stating, is definitely wavering. If that's all it took, you know what I mean? Like this is another person. This is another person that basically has been there by your side this entire time, has accepted you utterly for who you are, and the person you bring in is the one that you leave with. That don't make no sense.
That's just disloyal.
well, is it disloyal or they had a deeper connection?
It's disloyal.
It could be.
Why?
Both.
But
Could
because
be both.
it might feel disloyal,
if
but
anything,
like
you break up the whole situation first before doing anything.
Facts.
well, that's what they're doing. They're just being honest about it because it's because of the person they found, right? The thing is like, if you open yourself up to other people and for deeper connections, like you don't get to pick how that goes. You know, someone like they might go in thinking they're just having fun because they're attracted to the person,
You also
and then they
don't get to
realize
pick
this.
if they like, let's say you're in a workplace and shit. Like many people build these type of relationships in a workplace. I mean, you don't get control over that.
Yeah.
You don't get control
Yeah.
over where they build these relationships. You really don't.
It's also about how
Right.
willing are you to take the L.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like Robert De Niro fucking Heat, dog. Don't get involved in anything you're not willing to walk out on in 30 seconds or less.
I mean, that's tricky though, right? Because like
I agree.
with
That's
relation, it's tricky because like with relationships and love, like the whole point is like investment, right? Like
Exactly.
the whole point is not just walking away in 30 seconds. The whole point is like, hey, if I'm dying, you're gonna be here. Like you're not pulling out like, like it's nothing, right? Like that's the challenge, right? Because that's the thing, right? Like I feel like that idea of like
But this is the thing. Women are like boats. The two happiest days are the day they come into your life and the day they leave.
Sorry, say that again.
I said women are like boats. The two happiest days are when they come into your life and when they leave.
I disagree with that, but anyways.
Yeah, I can agree with that, man. I mean, it is funny. I can.
Notice how he
they
keeps
leave
not
and then,
looking at me?
they leave and then free your time up to just go sling at all kinds of pussy left and right. Whoa, what a trash.
Yeah, but like my thing is that my dynamic has always been like I've always been looking for a Bonnie and Clyde situation. You know what I'm saying? Like I want a chick I can do dirt with. You know what I'm saying? And like we still come out together. So like yeah, having to build that relationship where like the girl's comfortable enough to be a ride or die. I mean, is very important to me because I don't want a wavering partner.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know,
No,
I've
need
been
a
in
bitch.
positions in my life that have put me close to the edge, and I want someone that's like, if that shit does happen to me, is at very least, I mean, yeah, move on with your life, move on with your sex life, but like they were there, they played their role to the fullest, and all that shit. And you don't get that from a person that's just you burn in 30 seconds or less.
That's fair. I
You
mean,
know,
it builds up over time,
the key thing about that too, though, is that like it's like you can't go into the situation feeling that way. That's the vibe you go in with a fuck buddy. You know what I mean? That's the vibe you go in with like a situationship where it's like, okay, this is an open situation. I know that you're probably seeing other people. I'm seeing other people. So it's like in your mind, it's like, yo, if something happens, I'm ready to go in 30 seconds or less. Like it's easy. So like right? Like you don't let yourself go there, right?
So the relationships that I've gone into, like the woman has actually opened the door to like, do you want like a threesome and shit like that? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I know the options on the table. Now I know from, having female friends in high school that now it's a security thing. Hmm. How secure do they feel in the relationship to allow the boundaries to be pushed? Yeah. How much do they trust you, And like finding out how literally like I sex is a great hobby for me. I enjoy it. I like it, and like figuring that out and learning the emotional detachment that I seem to have from it. Like all the time, it's not an emotional thing for me, not at all. And learning that about me and being able to be secure in that fact does a lot. It's like, oh, I'm not gonna lose him over sex. Like, all right, so if there's nothing more intimate than sex, so it's literally the bond between us two. How's someone else gonna win? Yeah, you know what I mean. So with that, it's like, all right, cool.
Sling away.
Let's get it popping.
You know what I'm saying? If I know where you are and you come back at night, we have rules. You still set rules. Yeah. Security's the thing. And like that, and like especially if you're saying that you have to accept the fact that you don't own her body, security for the man is a thing as well.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely a thing. But it sounds like it's important for you to be able to do that. It sounds like that is like, if let's say that's like a top 5 need. You know what I mean? Yeah. Where for you going into it, like you dealing with you, this is something that I really need. And I feel like it really depends on what people put at that level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the way some chicks are like, yo, I can only date a guy with money. I'm sorry, like that's just what works for me.
True.
I can't date a guy. Like, and some chicks are like, no, he has to look good, right? Like, doesn't matter how much money he makes, but like he has to be funny.
I know,
Right?
they need so much from us, isn't it ridiculous? What do we need them to be? Just be an object.
It just
But, like,
keeps compounding.
my
It
thing
just
is
keeps
also this,
compounding.
So like, like
Just be pretty. That's
being
all
like
we need.
being like I want a girl that will accept that will have threesomes is very different from I want a girl that will have threesomes tomorrow. Like, you know what I'm saying? Two different bitches. Those are two different bitches. So like, yeah, I mean, like, you want both? Yeah, but one's a better situation than the other one, you know?
Facts.
Yeah, you know that on site. Yeah, are you getting your instant gratification? Yeah, but you're probably leaving as well. Am I wrong? Like,
I'll stop being wrong. Dog.
like, shit, that was funny, you know. But like another thing that I gleamed in the past, I felt like you kind of had a thing for white girls. Do you think that's true?
I don't discriminate.
That's not a no.
Told you, Michael. That's
Ain't
not
got
definitely
no
not a no.
type.
But that smile's the smile of a man that has discovered that white women are the devil. That's why they're so good.
Oh my days,
They
man.
lure you in. They're like, yes, come on, and then they snatch you.
That's
like
what I'm
it.
saying. Like they
I'm
all
saying
lure me.
kryptonite.
I'm saying that's what I'm saying. They all do, man. Like it's you know I've seen like Persian. I've seen like like Spanish.
He's
what?
a well-traveled
Yeah.
man.
He really is.
I have, man. Like it's just, and I can't. What can I say, man? Like I'm not picky. Why do you think so? Why do you think so, though?
I mean, if you check your history, don't you? What I've mostly heard of you slaying them most of the time.
Oh,
Yeah,
Huh.
your pussy
Really?
count is
Track record.
disproportionately white.
I wouldn't say so.
You wouldn't say so? All right, who's
No.
winning?
It's pretty close. It's
Who's the
probably
photo
black and
finish.
white.
Like,
Black and white.
Okay.
And then, yeah, it doesn't matter.
So like being you know a foreigner or someone that immigrated from Africa, do you find
Mm-hmm.
an extra allure to, you know, because like I feel like being an African and seeing black people all day, like everybody else looks exotic.
Yeah.
Nah, because again, my background's different, right? Like I lived in Malaysia, I lived in Brunei, so like I saw pretty Chinese girls, I saw pretty Malaysian girls, and like by the way, like Malaysia and Brunei, right? It's like a mix. So it's like if a bunch of shouldn't say this, but like a bunch of like Chinese people and a bunch of like
I swear to God,
Middle
I thought he
Eastern
was going
people.
to say Chinaman.
Yeah, I know. But like
Bunch of
it's
fucking
like
Chinaman.
Wait,
yeah,
we
like
should- we should
a mix
introduce
if
him
they
to
if they've
Anjan.
got together.
No,
so-
Anjan's from Singapore, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, Malaysia and Singapore right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all that area, right? Like that south, that like corner,
Brunei.
that Southeast Asia, right? Like it's basically a mix of like Chinese
India.
generations and Indian generations mixing together.
Yep.
So you can see everything from the scale of somebody that looks like Sri Lankan. And Sri Lankans, like they're blacker than us with like super soft hair, right? And then you can go all the way to like basically this person's clearly from China or Japan or South Korea or something along those lines. So it's like a whole mix of different parts of Asia. And the reason why I'm saying that is because like there are a lot of beautiful girls, man. Like that,
So,
that
I
kind
mean,
of like came from that.
Were you able to experience any of these?
Not much. I was too young. I left at like 13.
Shit.
Left at 13, but I've always appreciated. I mean, like, yeah, there were little bits and pieces, but it wasn't like, you know, the real thing, you know.
So where would you say, on what continent would you say your endeavors started, and how does the hunt differ?
Well, in Nigeria, the hunt is like, fuck, I'm saying the hunt. Anyway, it's like in Nigeria, it's like it's different, right? So the girls are attracted to strength. Like you can't be cool and chill and cordial. Like you kind of have to like drag her. Like, you know, it's kind of like. So this is I'll give you a perfect example, right? Like over in Nigeria when we used to have like dances and stuff like that, like, you know, like a little party with all the students and shit, right? When I got to Nigeria, I was like nicer and like, you know, was a little bit more, I guess, softer. Let's say that, right? And then I would talk to a girl and the girl would be like, nah, go away, right? And then like some other dude would come in and just like drag her, like straight up like pull her, and then next thing you know, she looks at him and she's just like, and I'm like, wait, hold up, like is this all I have to do? So I just sit back and I start watching, and I notice like the guys winning are the guys who are just a little bit more aggressive, right? So I kind of start doing that, like like talk to, like none of them like listen, like just basically pull up behind and like grab her waist, and then like she just starts dancing. I'm like, holy shit, this works. Right? This is how toxic fucking masculinity or whatever the fuck they call that. Like,
put my dick right next to your ass. Oh my god, she's going.
He's like a fucking eagle swooping down and snatching a tuna out of the river.
Honestly, so for me, like I saw that, right? I also knew that, like,
if you
that.
ever wondered why African men are so aggressive,
yeah, that's part of it. It's the same thing. Like if you go to a Jamaican club, like it's the same kind of vibe, right? Like the girls don't like, So I saw that and I realized, oh shit, like that's really not my style. The difference too for me, though, what like gave me a little bit of confidence was that like whenever I talk to girls, like I could see that some girls would feel me. You know what I mean? Like, so I knew that even if, let's say, I'm not getting all this love on like the dance floor, like I could probably still get girls, right? I could still get girls, and it kind of just get building from there. And then when you get here, I think you kind of just realize that like what's it? I'm gonna say here. I'll say Canada. I'll start with Canada, then I'll go into the US for a little bit I was there. But like in Canada, for example, like I think it depends on the background. Canada's so multicultural, like kind of like Boston, right? Like you have people from like there's Irish people here, there's Scottish people here, there's Portuguese people, there's like different types of Africans, there's Ghanaians, Nigerians, Somalians, like Egyptians, Moroccans, like it's crazy, right? So basically, just depending on the culture, there's a certain vibe that you have to approach it with, right? So for me, that just kind of made me not necessarily depend on that, because a lot of the girls kind of like shocks them, right? So it's just kind of like talking, right? And like I call it vibing.
Yeah, that's what you call it nowadays.
But what I mean is just like I'll talk to you about you. If you want to talk about me, I can talk about me too. Yeah. And then like if I'm into you, I'll flirt. I'll make jokes that make it clear that I'm into you, right? So it's like I'm not trying to be like, yo, I'm grabbing you. I'm aggressive in like speech. I'm not like what I'm saying, but like some shit that makes you think, oh shit, okay, he's not just saying hi, like
he's saying hi.
Exactly. And then like we'll see, and then if she, depending on the response, if she's like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? Then it's like abort. Right? But typically like girls are pretty accommodating, and like for me anyway, and like even if they're not into you, they'll have the conversation, and then you kind of have to just like, it's that social intelligence thing coming in, where you kind of have to like understand that like, okay, now she's just being nice, like you were funny before, now she's like just tolerating you, right?
Yeah.
Speak on that firsthand. The amount of times.
So what would you say about women from the U.S. or from Massachusetts, if you will?
Confidence. Key, but it doesn't have to be aggressive, but it has to be like the way you're talking. So it's not. For me, I'm a little bit more subtle, but like you can't be, I think that, and like the life of the party.
Yeah,
they
do
like that really works in the States. Like if you're the one telling a story or cracking a joke, and you have like a bunch of people, like I mean, like that really works everywhere. But I feel like you could be a little bit more smoother or quieter with it in Canada, where like they care and then they'll pick up on that. In the States, it's like, nah, like you need to be here. You need to be in there. You need to like put your fucking foot down.
That's very American. That's very fucking American.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is crazy, man. I mean, you do have some interesting perspective from a worldly view of like women, different aspects. I mean, what would you say is the rarest, or what do you think would be the rarest type of woman in the world that you might have?
In what way?
Population-wise, I guess. Rarest as far as like hardest to find, I guess. I'm always trying like.
What's like the most exotic chick he's fucked, or is that?
Yeah, like I've heard of. Yeah.
No, man, I'm not.
I've heard of like girls from like Laos. Do you even know what that is? Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
Cool. You're like that. That's like, wow. Where'd you even find one of those? Like, you know what I mean?
Probably in Laos.
No, here.
I want to find someone that's
Here?
fucked some Eskimo pussy from
Right?
Antarctica
You
or
see?
something.
Yeah, no two pussies are equal. Just like no two dick is equal.
Okay. Well, sir.
Different pussy hits different.
Yeah. All right. So like, I don't know. I would say like Fiji.
Wow.
Fiji. That's a good
that's
one.
Yeah.
fucking good.
Yeah. Like I don't know. Like I kind of have an idea of what they look like, but I don't really know.
Yo, that's awesome. That is fucking awesome.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
that shit.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
A
See
a
you.
Fijian? What do you even call them? A
Vagians.
Fugayan?
yeah, I'm not sure. They're like I don't know. They're probably close to whatever. What is the Polynesian or something?
Oh,
Right?
How tall was she?
I'm not. No. I'm not saying. I would say like that would be. I'm curious about that. I'm not saying I've done that. I wish.
Oh,
Sure.
Polynesian? Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
interesting.
like
The chick
Yeah,
I lost
like-
my virginity to was Hawaiian. That's basically Polynesian.
Well, if she was an
Oh.
Asian, was she pure Hawaiian?
I think so.
Okay, because there's a huge Asian population over there, so like they've mixed in pretty well as well.
Although, like, I mean, I was 16, she was 19, so I don't know. We didn't really pull out the 23 and me. I just knew that she was Hawaiian.
Well,
her
fuck
family
you,
was Hawaiian.
Irish. I mean, like, white people
There was
are just
a-
bad with race. So I mean,
there was enough of an Asian flair to their facial structure and her brother's facial structure that they definitely like. You're like, and when they drank, you know how like Asians' faces sometimes get red. Yeah, they had that too.
I don't
So
think that happens with Polynesians, but I
so-
don't know.
yeah, who knows?
I think they're a mix. I think there's some sort of mix there too. You know.
we call it Dwayne. Don't worry.
Yeah, Dwayne the Rock Johnson be like, hey, do Polynesians have the glow?
He'll know what that means.
Yeah, you know, all Asians know what that means. Ask an Asian ask them if they know what the Asian glow is. They'll be like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah.
What is that? What is that? I don't think I know what
turn
that
it
is.
red
When they
drink.
get like drunk or they drink,
Oh.
their face kind of like reddens.
Like flushed.
Little
Okay,
sweaty.
gotcha.
Sometimes.
Yep.
They get flush. Oh my god, how do black people look when they're flush? Purple.
No, we just stay black.
Black.
You stay black. But you know what? You know what though? Like you know where their cheeks get flushed and red? There are times when I'm drunk. It doesn't happen often where I feel that. I think when I'm drunk off of like beer or something. Like
So your
like I
cheeks get
actually
red?
I feel it, but it doesn't look right when I'm black.
Have you checked? You looked in the mirror?
Because I was just like, oh, this must be why their face goes red. Like I just remember thinking that
I
drunk
felt
as
white
fuck.
before.
Like
I was on shrooms and I felt white before. I understand. I felt white before.
I wouldn't go that far.
Yo, but I want to thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, dude, this was awesome.
I mean, we got to catch up a little bit more off camera
should.
because I know you got some stories for me. I definitely got some shit to tell you. So,
Yeah, we should, man.
Thank you for joining us for the Kingz Podcast. I've been yours truly, Karizmatik.
I'm an Irish O'Neill.
Ani Moush.
And go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I do this shit
My
too
boy
much.
O2 Oxygen. Let's get it.
All right, appreciate it.
Guys.
Thank you.
All right, do I just like jump off or?
You can stay on the line for now.
Okay, cool. Nice, man. So did you guys know like this?